Well, here now to discuss this is Conservative MP for Lichfield, Michael Fabricant. Michael, lovely, always having you on the show. Boris is your boy, isn't he? Are you going to defend him no matter what the Grey report says?
Well, it depends what the Grey report says. But, you know, I'm not speaking to you from the House of Commons. I'm actually home in Lichfield, and I'm isolating because I've got COVID. I've got it very, very lightly, I might add. This is not a sympathy vote, but it does mean that I can look at this thing objectively. And Vince Cable was talking just now about how we're perceived abroad, and I happen to know a little bit about how we're perceived abroad because I've been contacted by various people in Newfoundland, in Australia, in New Zealand, in Germany, and elsewhere. And they really don't understand what's going on, in the sense that they're saying, you know, here is the UK, got out of the European Union, fastest economy in the whole of the G7, actually playing a medal in negotiations with Ukraine. I think that's one area I'll disagree with Vince Cable on. And here we are having Partygate, or Cakegate, as I like to call it. And they just don't understand how the Brits can get so obsessed with such an issue.
I mean, do you think this is essentially a vendetta against Boris Johnson and a media just lapping it up because they love a straw man, they love a headline, they love being able to take down a government? Is that your feeling here? Or are there really serious question marks about the man leading the country, essentially, potentially breaking laws that he made and repeatedly stood behind a lectern to tell the public to follow?
Well, the question is, did he break the laws? I mean, this is the whole thing the Met Police and the Sue Gray report are going to talk about. I mean, the impression being given, if you read the media, and I'm not blaming the media because they're getting this information being fed them, I suspect, by a person who was sacked and wants to get his own back on Boris Johnson. But, you know, they're being fed the information that's being published. But, I mean, you get the impression from it all that it's like your monologue at the beginning of the show. It sounds like an Ibiza night out. It sounds like Bacchanalia gone wild, people blowing party poppers and all the rest of it. Whereas, in fact, I think if there has been cakes involved, if there has been drinking involved, it's all people standing demurely around, from what pictures I've seen, at the end of a long, long day, working in closed, cramped offices and, you know, with no mixing involved. So, in other words, no chance of actually spreading any disease. And we do know, don't we, that the disease spreads very rapidly in number 10. There are over 100 offices in numbers 9, 10, 11 and 12 Downing Street. This is a big complex of 3 houses knocked together. It goes back deeper than you would think when you actually see it from the front of the house, you know, from the front of the building where the cameras usually are. We know from the fact that Boris caught the disease, we know from the fact that others have caught the disease, how contagious the area is. So frankly, if the same people are meeting for a quiet drink or whatever they were doing, I'm not even sure they were breaking the law. This is something that we'll have to determine, because they were in the workplace and they were still working. A lot of them went straight back to work afterwards, if indeed they were actually meeting for drinks anyway. And we'll find out how many there have been, or maybe there's only one, maybe 2. But as I say, from outsiders' point of view, when they look at the success of the United Kingdom, when they see the popularity of Boris otherwise, because he does get to places rather like Heineken, which other prime ministers don't reach rather, they do rather find it all very strange. And that's why I can understand why people like Keir Starmer are so keen to get rid of Boris.
Well, I hear you, Michael. He may not have broken the law, but somebody broke that child's swing, and I want to get to the bottom of it. Michael Fabricant, Conservative MP for Lichfield. Always great having one, isn't it?